Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Rachel. I am a British mum of two living here in Jordan. I've been here for 4 years now and I do content every Tuesday about my life here and culture here and kind of a mishmash of just everything about living in Jordan. So if you are interested in that, then please like and subscribe. Yeah. So today's video is on the things that I love about Jordan. I've done a whole series about these things. Today I just want to list a bunch of things about the people, specifically about the people that are here and the kind of culture that's here. So my first thing is how friendly people are. Your neighbours, they want to feed you, they'll offer to come and help clean your house with you, I mean if you're a woman, and they're so welcoming and they'll take your kids for you, and it's very much like a community spirit that I've heard used to exist in the UK and definitely doesn't exist anymore. So you really feel like you're kind of part of things, especially because there's, you know, most people live in apartments, they don't live in houses or villas that they call them here. So you're kind of like, you're all in it together. And at first I found that really difficult because I've never lived in an apartment before. I found it really like people were in my face and I didn't like being able to hear my neighbour, you know, flushing the loo in the middle of the night and things like that. But actually it's really nice. It's just like community orientated. Also along with that, like everybody will make an effort to know you and get to know you. So, you know, your local shopkeeper or your local pharmacist or even the guys that clean the bins in the streets and things, they all like, you become familiar with them, like more with the shopkeepers and stuff like that. So if you don't have enough change maybe one day, or you forgot your wallet or something like that, they'll just give you whatever it is that you wanted to buy and they'll tell you like to get it another time. And as well, you can ask them to order things in. Like my local shop didn't have the kind of coffee that we like, so I asked him, I felt comfortable enough to ask him, could you order in stuff specifically for us, which is really nice. And I feel like sometimes I go down the street and like all of the shopkeepers have come outside onto their, like they're just standing on the street or doing whatever they're doing, and you wave at them and it's just, it's really sweet. Also in Jordan, like I think this is probably more in Amman that you have this, but so every building has, or most buildings have got a harris, which is like a building keeper or janitor or something like that, and they tend to live downstairs, like in the basement, kind of like with the cars and things, and they take care of the general maintenance, and you can ask them to go and pick stuff up from you from the local shop and pay them a little bit of money for that, or to come around and fix stuff in your house. We don't have that at all in England and I love it. At first I didn't like it because I felt like it's quite like, I felt like it was kind of invasive in some way. And it felt like, am I using you as a slave or something, you know, because they tend not to be here on a proper like work salary kind of thing. So it always felt a bit weird. And I've got into it now and I really like it, and I think I would find it really difficult if I didn't have a harris that I knew that I could always rely on for certain things. So the Middle East gets a bad rap for harassment of women, which I think is fair. There is a lot of harassment, and you, especially if you're a foreign woman, men feel like they can say whatever and they can treat you differently to how they would with Arab women. But saying that, I actually feel like I'm physically safer in Jordan than I am in the UK for things like sexual assault. In Jordan they say a lot of stuff, and maybe if you're in a certain situation you might get groped. In the UK, and that's shocking, really shocking. In the UK, it feels like you get groped on like a daily basis, and it's like very normalised, and it's very normal for your boss to, you know, assault you in some way, or it's very normal on a night out to be assaulted a lot. Here, no, I guess because as well you don't have that kind of same drinking culture, but in the UK it happens very casually, you know, when drinking isn't involved and stuff. And I don't feel like I'm physically unsafe here. So maybe it makes me feel uncomfortable when I'm being harassed, of course. But I feel like I know usually where the limits are, whereas in the UK there's kind of no limit. Something else that I really love about living in Jordan is that wherever you go, people tend to like foreigners and they tend to be as friendly and welcoming to foreigners as possible. Whereas in the UK, it's the opposite of that totally. So here, even if you are trying to speak Arabic, so I try to speak Arabic whenever I go out, I try not to force people to speak English because I think that's really crappy. So I try and speak Arabic, and if I'm struggling in things, usually if they speak English, they'll just revert to English straight away, or if I walk in a shop, they'll just say hello instead of speaking to me in Arabic. And I think that level of welcomingness is really nice, because in the UK, if you don't speak English, people treat you so badly. They give you so much abuse for it. Whereas here, you know, it is the second language, so kids are taught that in English in schools. So realistically, everyone should be able to like speak to a basic level of English. But the fact that they actually just really try to speak English with you is really nice and friendly. Another thing that really surprised me when I first came here is the appreciation and the general knowledge of other cultures. So of course, you know, you've got all the different Arab cultures. You know, Arabic culture isn't just like, it's not totally homogenous. So you've got all the different places. You've got North Africa, you know, right through to the Gulf and things, and everyone knows something about all of those different areas and the people from those different areas and their traditions and their national dishes or their national dance or whatever. And as well, beyond that, there's also like more of an appreciation for other cultures as well. So for instance, on NBC4 at the moment, there's a lot of Korean TV shows. And I never would have watched a Korean TV show ever before. And I was watching it the other day with my mother-in-law, and there was all these, like, they make these bing noises and these funny little tinkles while, like, throughout the TV show while people are talking, with, like, reactions. They make these little funny noises. And I turned to my mother-in-law, I was like, what is this? What? And she was like, well, this is Korean TV. This is how they do it. I'd never, like, it's totally new to me. I went to school with loads of Korean kids, but, like, totally new to me. So that was really funny. And as well, like, you see like Spanish stuff on the TV, and you know, people just watch anything as long as there's subtitles. They don't really mind. Whereas in the UK, we really don't like that kind of thing. We really, like, if you watch something with subtitles, then you're showing off, or you're like lefty, or you're boho somehow, or something like that. So, and as well, there's like, I feel like there's a general, more people have better world knowledge than we do in England. We're very isolated in England and very arrogant, and here people really they learn a lot and they're very open to other cultures. Finally, my last one, this one's going to be random. I really love the little drainage holes in every single room in Arab homes, like in Jordan, in all homes in Jordan. You've got this little drainage hole so that you can just chuck water on the floor, and you can use a little squeegee thing, and you just like clean the floors in the most efficient, clean, best way I've ever seen. And I could never go back. I could never go back to like the system we have in England, where you have to like, you use a mop, and I never feel like a tile floor is clean in England, because like, I don't know, you're like moving the dirt around or something. Here it's like proper efficient. You just chuck a load of water, you can put all water on the counters and everything, and like throw it off. And you know, the problem is if you've got wooden cupboards and things in your kitchen, that is a really good way of getting rot. But as well in England, because it's so cold all the time, if you throw water on the floor, like you just wouldn't ever, you just don't chuck water on the floor. You try and keep everything dry all the time. So like in the bathrooms, it's very common in England to have a carpet on the floor, which I know a lot of people think is really gross. But that's fairly normal, because you're always worried about getting water anywhere, because that water can turn into rot really quickly because of the weather. Here, I mean, I always found it really shocking when I first saw someone just like dump a bucket of water on the floor. But it's cool because you've got these little holes. I could not ever live without that. I think that is like a genius engineering. But as well, to bring it back around to people and the culture here and things. So something that I really love is that on Fridays, typically on Fridays, that's the holy day. That's the day that, you know, Muslims go to the mosque and things, and everyone's got a kind of tradition about eating breakfast, and then the guys go off to the prayer or whatever it is, and then you have a big lunch of mansaf, whatever your tradition is. But usually in the mornings, the women, like all over the country, the women will be deep cleaning their houses, and I find that really lovely. especially when you're living in a flat and you can hear everybody like hoovering and you know, coming out and cleaning on the like the veranda area or on the hallway area, and I think that's really nice. So we're all kind of in it together in a way, and we're all chucking water on the floor, and you know that everyone's like pushing that water down that drainage hole, which is so cool. That's so random. But yeah, there's some things that I love about this place. It's really hard to make a list of like, oh, the top 10 things that I love about Jordan, because since I made the decision to start really embracing the country, I love so much, and it's really hard to break that down. So this is just a bunch of things that came to my head. So that's all I've got for today. But if you in any way relate to anything that I have spoken about in this video, then please in the comments, let's talk it out. Tell me any other things that were funny that you just really fell in love with Jordan, or things that you didn't expect to fall in love with in Jordan, and we can have a little chat about it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. It makes my day when I get likes and subscribes. Need to get a hobby. Oh, this is my hobby. Alright. Shukran, ma salama.